Welcome back, everybody, to another episode here on Gregtech Community Edition Modern. It's good to be back. Beginning of this week. Last week we got a lot of stuff done. This week we're going to get into quite a few of some really fun things. Especially since we're now getting into assemblers now after getting these big grinders and ovens done. And one of the reasons I'm excited is I'm going to be able to switch out a bunch of stuff. So we're going to first be able to change out our normal bronze pipes for potent pretty soon here. I just wanted to do one last thing before we do, because I don't want the 3-to-1 ratio. I'd rather get down to a 1-to-1. Ooh, I fell down here. I would rather get down to a 1-to-1 ratio. So we're going to get our bender up and running today. I did want to show you, I did the basic polarizer off camera, just because after looking at what the polarizer costs, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do all of the other stuff, but it doesn't even require any of those moving components like the motors, the pistons, or anything. So I just grabbed it really quick, and all it does is it charges up things. So this allows us to make these rods by just popping them in here instead of using redstone. So that was kind of nice to see. As for everything else, we're going to get a couple, I think 4 machines done today, and kind of look at their uses. So I got all of the components built up. Let me go ahead and put some of the stuff away that I don't need, like that. I don't want those in this backpack. I think we can switch back to the other one and stuff a lot of stuff back into it. Put those away. Put the pipes in there. We'll want these out, and we will want this. Do I need that? No, I don't need that. I don't need that stuff. Should be able to just put those away. So now if I go ahead and pop everything on out here, we can start with our first machine, which is the basic metal bender, and it looks like I am missing the steel. Did I have a... yeah, I did have a single steel plate. And the glass. I can't sleep this rain away. It's kind of a bummer that that happens right at the beginning. And there's our 2 glass for the other recipe. So our first one is the metal bender. So this will allow us to change our recipe up. So if we go and look at what that one talks about, I believe this is where we get our 1-to-1. Arguably the second best LV machine to craft, but we're down if you want to argue otherwise. This unlocks the ability to convert 1 ingot to 1 plate, which is better than a ratio, which is a better ratio than the forge hammer, which is 100% true. That's why I wanted to grab it. And we talk about programmed circuits after this. So we already kind of looked into this. By clicking on the circuit configuration slot in the machines, you can create a ghosted programmed circuit. This is a fake circuit that allows you to select a configuration for your recipes. There is no need to spend your circuits crafting programmed circuits anymore. I kind of find that a little bit sad because it makes you learn something else in the process, but it's whatever they really decide to do with their mod, or their mod pack in general. The purpose of this ghost circuit is to prevent recipe clashes. For example, the same wire mill can produce wires of different thickness with the same material. Electric machines and item input buses will have a ghost circuit slot. Okay. That's it. This feature is originally from Gregtech New Horizon. So I guess anybody who played New Horizon would know about that kind of feature, but that's interesting. The next machine I think we're getting was the Centrifuge. So let's go ahead and grab that out. So that would finish that quest. It's going to give us a cauldron. Oh boy, what can this machine do? Decomposition recipes into separate dust types, separating air, do your taxes, and many others. The list is too long. Let's just say you need the Centrifuge. So this is something I'm actually happy to get, because I can actually get a couple different things off of this, and we can actually start processing all the stone dust here behind us, which I think I can go ahead and just wire that up to do for now. I think I'll wire it right back here so I can just keep going. Stuff in. Oh, come on. Let it wire run up. And we'll stuff in. Well, that's not what I wanted, but I guess we can stuff in 2 stacks in there. Voltage tier is too low. I guess we don't need that one yet. What was I able to do? I don't think I can even do the other ones in the centrifuge. That one says I can do it in low voltage. So I guess we can put in the netherrack. What about tough? Tough goes in the electrolyzer. So I guess do the netherrack dust. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, we'll go stuff the netherrack dust in there just to let that run for a little bit. But it'll take that much time, and we'll get some coal, we'll get some sulfur, we'll get some redstone out of each process. Or it's a percentage chance, but it also lets us clear out some inventory and not waste materials. The next one we've got a basic assembler and the basic extractor. So we'll do the assembler, and we'll do the extractor, and we'll go read those as well. So the assembler we've got, while this is an extremely important machine for progression, this will not help you immediately, as it's expensive. Most of the recipes you will want to pursue require fluids. Set up a little bit more infrastructure before rushing this. With that out of the way, the assembler is crucial to gameplay, considering it is important as as important as the crafting table. Except, well, it's a machine, duh. We as modpack developers also love to use this to include all sorts of custom recipes. And speaking of custom recipes, the assembler now unlocks Applied Energistics 2. Once you have enough infrastructure, you will be able to make use of better recipes for vacuum tubes, resistors, circuit boards, and this greatly reduces copper used. Woohoo! Back in the days of Gregtech 2, the assembly machine only had 2 slots and was only really used for alternate circuit and hole recipes. Interesting to know. We got the basic extractor. This one is the important thing because this is actually what really unlocks our basic assembler. The reason we didn't present LV version of Steam machines is because they're not required. You might not want to invest into any upgrade that does next to nothing except for this one specifically, because it is a big improvement over Steam Age. The basic extractor gains fluid capabilities, which enables fluid extraction. Use it to melt rubber that you previously solidified, to melt soldering alloy for your circuits, and to melt red alloy for your best vacuum tube recipes in the assembler. And then just some more lore again here. Did you notice this machine doubles as both an extractor and a fluid extractor? They used to be separate machines. So now we can get that one wired up, and it looks like both of those require 32 power. So we're going to want to be putting another one of these steam turbines down here. I think I want to grab... I don't know why I did that. That's not what I wanted to do. Grab out this. Place that there, and I think we can just go ahead and... we're going to have to switch out our backpacks again and grab our pickaxe out. And we will mine this up. I want to make a new one of those and try to enchant it. But we'll place a new steam turbine here, and then have the assembler and the extractor on the same thing. I think we'll do the assembler in the middle, the extractor on the right, And then I can do another 2 machines and have the chemical reactor and the fluid solidifier, so that I can have the fluid solidifier next to the extractor in case I need to use it there. So we'll go ahead and pop this one down right there. This one down right here. And we can take the bender on over to this area. I don't think I've... Ooh. Well, since I've fallen down here twice, I'll go ahead and show you what I basically stumbled across looking around. So, with it being the newer version of Minecraft, we now have a way of infinite lava sources. I don't know how to pump it out of here yet, but I almost have a full area up here. And as I've been smelting down more iron, I've been looking to add more cauldrons to this so that we can get more lava. But I'm looking at possibly doing this as a replacement to creosote. I don't know how well it burns. We'll see how well it burns, but free infinite source of energy? Yes, please. Like, why not? I just have to make sure I don't fall down here, which is why I put some blocks up and over it. And I'll be making the floor above this one higher so that I can actually get up here and access stuff if I need to. But, yeah, kind of an interesting thought process that it was like, well, one of the things about previous is there was technically no infinite lava. Even in the nether, it would pump but get rid of the lava. But now we've got a way of creating more lava, so we'll see how that balances out later on in the game. Now we can actually sleep and get rid of this absurd rain. But I wanted to check, I don't know, did I put away... I did put away some tin. So we're going to need 2 turbines, so that's that. Is it 2 for the turbine thing? Steam turbine. Yeah, so it's 2 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and make one of these. I'll be right back so that we can have some more power for these machines. I kind of forgot to do that yesterday, so I'll be right back. Right, we're back finishing up the last of the crafts that we need for the basic steam turbine. I can go ahead and plop that down back here. And then we'll use some more... Oh, I guess I need a little bit more tin. I didn't grab all of what I needed. So that should make enough. And now we can power both of these up and start looking at what kind of recipes we can get done in here that'll really, like, change the way our stuff works. So I got 1... Of course. Wire cutters. Do that. We will attach, and then we will do that. And attach. There we go. So now, with our basic assembler, what are some of the recipes we can really start to get into? That is way too many. So I know that our motors now change up. So now instead of requiring us to craft it, I guess it doesn't change that much. So the motors basically can just be auto-assembled a bit easier. So it looks like the recipe doesn't change at all. Pistons, same thing. Yeah, it looks like all of these recipes... Oh, okay, the conveyor belt does change. So the conveyor belt, we've now got a recipe where if we get liquid silicone rubber... I guess if we can just get any liquid rubber. But, again, I don't think that recipe really changes, because I think that's the same amount of ingots for that. So, that all stays the same, but if we look at our vacuum tubes, we use 1 less copper wire and 1 less bolt to get this recipe. And if we get liquid red alloy, we get 3. And if we get annealed copper wire, we'll get 4 from the craft. So that'll actually be pretty nice. So that's one recipe to keep in mind. I think we can go straight into the red alloy too, so we'll go ahead and keep that recipe on lock. Then we go over to our resistors now. Those can be made in here using some glue and some copper wire. How do we make the glue? We need a mixer or a centrifuge with slime balls, polyvinyl acetate, and methanol acetate. Yeah, I think that's a little bit a ways away from our reach right now. We get air and vinyl acetate, we can make the polyvinyl acetate, which we need oxygen, acetic acid, and ethylene, which I believe we're going to have to start getting into. Yeah, we're going to have to get into other things to be able to even get to this. Cracked propane, yeah. This is all getting into more of the distillation stuff, so that one's kind of out of our reach, I think, at the moment. Unless there's like another kind of glue that we can use. Which doesn't look like it. Mixer or in the centrifuge. Because slime balls, I don't know if they changed it, because I do have a swamp biome over here. We can go look, but slimes are supposed to spawn in the swamp. I haven't seen any. And it's one of those things that I don't remember if, like, small slimes are able to spawn. Maybe I can see if we can make slime balls. That's probably a better thing to do. Can we make slime balls? Chemical bath? Yeah, no. No, there's no way to make slime balls either. Because again, it's just the same recipe. What is this other one? Acetone? Yeah, we still need the polyvinyl acetate regardless. Resin. You know, that would have been the smart place to look first. So let's go dump some resin in our centrifuge. Get some glue, and then I can... Ooh, we're going to want to get the canner. But once that glue is there, we can then extract that out, and we can also make those resistors. So which ones do we got? We got... It looks like our best recipes require the annealed copper, which requires an arc furnace. So it looks like still right now we're going to have to use one of these ones. And I prefer to use the charcoal dust one, as it's easier for me to do. So we'll put that recipe up. Let's get some resin. I think I put them in the other backpack again. Yep. So let's go ahead. Where did I put it? I put it right there? I did. So, extractor. Hello? Use in the extractor? Oh, I need it in the centrifuge. Derp. Why would I do that? Centrifuge. Put that over here, right? And we can go ahead, pop a couple on in there. Honestly, I could just stick the whole batch in here for now. Get a bunch of glue, enough that we can move it over with the bucket. And we can actually make that craft easier too. There's a couple other ones that I'm pretty sure it talked about, but not entirely sure. We do want to do these fluid cells, so this is one of the other ones that was very important here. So we can either make them using an extruder and the mold for cells, or we can use them straight in the bender, which I think that's what we're going to do, just because it's a little bit more cost efficient for us than trying to make a whole nother thing for the bender. or for the extruder right now. So we got a whole stack of our Po-tin plates. I'm gonna go actually grab the rest of that out so we can put that in as we come back to it over and over again. But once that's done, we switch it to 12. Put that on in there. And that will allow us to get the fluid cell. Let's go ahead and put the Po-tin in. We'll make some more plates, and I'll go ahead and replace all that off camera. But with the fluid cell, we can make a universal fluid cell just by putting it in our crafting bench. And the reason for this one is this allows us to create, or to use any amount of fluid in there. So a regular fluid cell holds 1 bucket of fluid, up to, that's the max. All cells of the same type and fluid amount of inside them can stack. But the big thing is the universal cells can hold fractions of buckets. So that's why you might want a universal cell over a regular one. Is because I could take this now and I can actually pick up the glue. So you'll see I can go ahead and pick up the glue, and it may not be a full bucket, but I can store it in there, and clearly it doesn't stack. But that allows me to now transfer this over to our machine over here, and then we can look at our resistors. We just need the charcoal and the copper, so that'll actually be even faster. Let's go ahead and get some of these out. Check up on our wood. Yeah, we got plenty of stuff in there. We can come over to our macerator and macerate up all of that. And then I know I've got a bunch more of the wire in here, so I can just pop them on in, and we'll just watch this make a bunch of those resistors at a much cheaper price for us now. And even faster. Well, I guess technically if you go crafting it in a crafting bench, you can craft it faster than that, but you still have to get all of the different materials, so it would be way more costly to do so. And then of course we get these plant balls, which you'll be able to use in the macerator to make these biochaff, which eventually can be used in the pyrolysine oven once we get that next stage, but that's going to be a little bit before then. But this will let us process our sticky resin into rubber at the same time, with no loss comparative to what we would get out of our extractors. So that's actually kind of nice. Other recipes that it helps us out with, I don't think this one helps, because you do need the circuit assembler. Yeah, you need the circuit assembler to make the better circuits. But we can make, I don't know if there's really anything to make that's better off the top here. Although it did say we can start getting applied energistics going afterwards. Getting to applied energistics is possible, but also a little bit involved. You will need to make quite a few LV machines, and the LV tier recipes for some AE2 items are comparatively expensive without access to more advanced technology. So yeah, just what I thought. I'm not going to get into it just yet. While it would be nice to be able to store stuff faster, only doing the 1K storage components are a little bit of a problem there. And then the terminal allows me to access it through a panel, but I only have the storage chest, don't have access to the drive bay. So I'm going to have to make a chest for every item anyways, so there's no point in doing that. I guess with the centrifuge, it's going to want me to go ahead and get a bucket of glue to finish that one right there. So let's wait for this. We'll grab a bucket of glue, and then we can look at that. It's looking like the circuit board was the other one that I kind of forgot about, that we've got a better recipe for now, where it's 1 wood plank and a bunch of copper foil, which is why we want that bender, because that bender allows us to make copper foil readily cheap. It basically changes it from 4 copper per board to 1 copper per board. So now that we've got the glue bucket, you can now or you can now centrifuge resin, which will still give raw rubber, but this time alongside glue, and the less useful plant ball. Give yourself a head start and get on producing glue. You can use it to make cheaper resistors as well as cheaper circuit boards in the assembly machine, and it is especially useful in the near future. Submit a fluid by having it stored in a bucket in your inventory. Sorry for the FTP quirks. So that just gives us a few more logs, but now we can make printed circuit. This circuit board is used to create MV circuits. Okay. So, yeah. So, we can basically use the... Oh. Ah. So now to make a different kind of circuit board. Got it. Okay. But that means that I can even show off that recipe. We go in here, we go ahead and put in our bucket just to get rid of that. Go grab a couple more of these wood planks. I don't know if I actually have any more. But I can go ahead and grind these down in a macerator. And pressurize them afterwards. I think I do have some more boards somewhere. Right there. And now with that, we need 10 pieces of copper to make all of those into circuit boards. So we'll go ahead and do that. Bring it over to our wire or metal bender we just used. And then to make this into straight into foil, we need to use recipe number 10. So we'll do that. Pop those in. That'll make it straight into our foil, and as you see, it gives us the straight up 4, which is exactly what we need for one craft of the recipe. Looks like our... what is... what was... oh, the macerator. The macerator was what I was running. That's right. So we'll go ahead and take that out. We can put that in the compressor to compress it down. We're still going to be a little while out of doing the MV machines, because I want to get more of this tier done. So we get like the gas collector to get oxygen, allowing us to do the arc furnace, which will smelt a lot of things a lot faster. And with that, we now have our 40 copper foil. Put that in the assembler with the glue. And we'll let that run. When we come back, we'll have a bunch more circuit boards. We can come back over here, put our last potin stack in to make regular plates so that I can, like I said, do that pipe transfer off of camera. Because these... I don't remember if I showed this on video, but the reason I want potin over bronze... so our bronze pipe normal transfers at a rate of 120 millibuckets. But if I switch over to potin, that normal doubles the rate. And so that's one of the problems I'm having, is the throttled rate. This makes it to where it's not getting as much as we need. Plus, it makes it more difficult to add more pipes up onto this thing, because I'm like at max capacity for these. This one slowly like will dip out, which means that we probably need to even upgrade this one to a large. But being able to double the capacity means I could probably double the amount of steam things on there. But as you can see, we're getting our printed resin boards for a lot cheaper than before. Changes from a 1 to 1, a 1 to 4, a 4 to 1 ratio now to a 1 to 1, which is really nice for that. So yeah, we now make our circuits a whole lot cheaper. I'm sure there's some other recipes that I haven't stumbled across just yet that'll make cheaper, but we need some other machines. I'm probably going to get this really quick off. I guess I can do this now. Get 4 steel plates, which I have. A hammer and file. Wrong backpack. Hammer, file. 4 steel plates, hammer, file, get the empty mold, and our rotor. So this will now make it to where instead of having to handcraft a rotor, I think it's 4? Roughly 4, yep. So now to make 8, we need 4, there's 2. So just a stack. No, half a stack? Half a stack. Come on over here, start melting this down. And then we can transfer it over with the universal cell to the fluid solidifier afterwards. But there's our circuit boards. Let's go ahead and do a couple of the vacuum tubes. And this is why you want these universal cells, because now I can take one of those, pick up the glue so that I can go get some red alloy. So let's make up a bar of the red alloy, which I actually wanted to look at if there's any better recipe for making this stuff, because 4-to-1 feels like a really bad recipe. So yeah, no, it looks like that's really it. It's the 4-to-1. We'll let this finish up its steel. I'll be back after that, and I'll gather the rest of the stuff to make these better vacuum tubes. And then we'll do one more craft of that just to showcase that recipe. And then, yeah, be right back. I just remembered we were going to showcase the fluid solidifier rotor thing really quick. So now if I put the buckets in here that I just grabbed, we'll watch as we get to our motors so much quicker as well. Our rotors. So there's one. Ooh. We're going to run out of energy because we're powering both of those. Let's go ahead and pop that on out. So when that one's done, how much is this using? It's not showing yet, but we'll see once this recipe finishes. We'll go ahead and take the potent out for a second as well. So with all of that gone, we should be charging it much faster. So it looks like this machine with this recipe uses 20 EU per tick. So this will probably have to go on with one of those 32 machines, as we'll be using it quite frequently. So I guess these two are going to be side by side on their own turbine. Right over there once we get another turbine set up. But the whole point of doing this is now we've got our tiny rotors way quicker so that we can make more of these steam turbines that are much more ready taste. I could not tongue tie myself there. Oh, we're gonna pop this red alloy in here now. That'll get going. We'll go pop all of our tin in here to let this make a bunch of rotors. I'm gonna pop that back in there too. Even if that's not able to like make all of the rotors at the moment, we'll let it just do its thing because this is almost done. But now we should be able to grab out this into there. And I guess the last thing I forgot to get so far is the steel bolts. So let's go put these on the lathe. Oh, that's just going to have just as much of a problem. And there's our last rotor going through. Dump this on the lathe. Let that go while I go rest. Grabbing out the saw out of the backpack while I put everything else back. Yeah, these episodes end up making my inventory look like trash. Definitely gonna have to clean up everything afterwards. And one of the reasons I don't worry about sorting chests way too much is because By the time that I'm done with everything here, sorting it all, I could have just pushed through to having, what am I doing? Well, I guess we're gonna make some more. That's a classic screw-up of Gregtech of just autopiloting. Oh boy. I actually can't believe I did that. Well, I can, but still frustrating. While we're waiting for those, we can come down and pop out some more lava out of here. Like, you want to be on top of this, because I don't know if anybody does this normally, but these recipes, or the recipe to get this, is exactly as follows, where you have to have a source block above a cauldron, but it takes 19 minutes for each one of them, so it's kind of a long time to get each crafted. Now with that, that'll let us do that very first recipe of those steel... glass tubes. There we go. And now we're getting 3 vacuum tubes instead of just a single vacuum tube per craft. Even without the copper wires, we end up making a better return on it, which is nice. And that means every single one of our circuits after this are way cheaper. And then as soon as we get the circuit assembler, which is one of our next priorities... I don't know how much further down. Why is this one locked? Basic extractor, first MV circuit. Oh, do I need MV circuits? Yeah, we need MV circuits for that. So I'll have to craft up some of those next time. I think that's where we'll go, as we'll get to this. But we need to get diodes. We need to get... Okay, so yeah, we actually still got a little bit ways before we get over there. So we need to get our diodes. We need to get a couple other things up and running to get our medium voltage circuits, which allows us to get the circuit assembler. Once you've got the circuit assembler, all of your circuits become way cheaper. And everything's more efficient again. Such is the cycle of Gregtech. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. And you guys have a great day. Bye!